Aditi and Sharmin, it's so wonderful to see you both on filmishilmy.com, and a huge congratulations on Heera Mandi, the Diamond Bazaar streaming on Netflix.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, right. So I think it's quite befitting that we're having a bit of a discussion with both of you first, because the dynamics that you both share in the series, and especially going by what we've seen in the trailer, it seems to be a very special one. It seems to be a very, very close-knit relationship. So I think for you both to really find that sisterly love and find that uh, sort of affinity and that strive of rising beyond a sort of a system and a set society, what aspects did you have to tap into? Aditi, will begin with you.
I actually found it very effortless and quite easy. Sharmin is like my brat sister who I really love. And I also value her because she just says what is on her mind. Pretty much like Sanjay sir. And that's very valuable, you know. And I have to say that she really and I can very confidently say she loves me a lot and actually babies me a lot. uh, so it wasn't very hard to find that sisterhood at all. Um, I also found that it helps when off camera you have a kind of natural affinity and a camaraderie. And even when I want to strangle Sharmin, I'm able to tell her that, you know, I want to strangle you. Can you just get together? and, and I like that I can do that with her, and she trusts me and I trust her. And it was lovely playing sisters, actually. Um, I really, it was a beautiful relationship because this girl, Bibojan, I mean, we have a mother like Mallikajaan, who honestly we're both quite afraid of. Um, but who's also very awe-inspiring as a character. And in her own way, and Bibbo certain wants to do right by her mother all the time because that's just the kind of girl that she is. But somewhere, because of her own experiences, she wants to protect her younger sister, you know, from going through whatever experience she might have been through, you know. So she's is always there for Alamzeb, like making sure that she can make her life easier and shield her from their Ammi. I really love that relationship, you know, and it's so nice, you know, to be able to tell your sister, you know, stand by what you believe in. You said some, I mean, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but I love that relationship. I really, really love it. It's so lovely. And yeah, Sharmin, continue now, please. Thanks.
So basically, I mean, working with Aditi was quite like, it was just easy because at the end of the day, Aditi, like, as much as she says that, like, I mothered her, but she also supported me through a lot of the shooting process. And I think so I also have a younger sister, and so I basically played Alamzeb, the sisterhood aspect of it through her lens. Because what happens, what I really think, strongly believe this, that your siblings are sometimes more your parents than your parents. Like, they really like give you perspective on right from wrong because you have the ability to talk to them more freely. Not that my parents are not easy to talk to. My parents are very like chill people. You can talk to them about anything. But there are some days where you cannot sit and explain right from wrong to somebody that is like much older than you or doesn't understand where you're coming from. And I think that bond that I have with my sister really helped shape my bond with Aditi. And no, Aditi, you cannot steal my sister. Yeah. Aditi has said this multiple times. She wants to steal my sister. It's
Absolutely. No, I have an older sister. I mean, she's a cousin, but she's an older sister. And like how she is with me, I mean, it was pretty much channeling that with.
Yeah. So I think any bonds of sisterhood come from your experiences with the women closest to you. And for me, that's my younger sister. And that kind of shapes my behavior with other women in my life, not just like with Aditi in the show, but even with my friends. The way I to treat my sisters, how I am in a sisterhood.
Sure. I think the beauty is that camaraderie that I think all of the Shahi Mahal sort of women share with each other. We've got Richa, who has just joined us as well. So welcome to you,
Who's
Richa.
also very sisterly towards like me and Aditi. Like, she has really, no, on camera and off camera. Like, she's really, I don't have that many scenes with Richa, but like she's really stood by me through the promotion process at least, if not the actual shooting part of it. And I think I
I
got to know her more then.
Yeah, absolutely. I love
No,
hanging with you. She's cut from the same cloth. I really loved sitting next to Sharmin and making an ass or making a fool of myself in the interviews. Um, Sorry, I'm just feeling a bit strange, so I had to walk out. I was
that's
all
okay.
through Manoj. How
No,
are you?
but it's
I hope you're well.
Yes, it's good to see you, Richa. I think I have to say I absolutely loved Laju. I think she was amazing in the series. And I think what I really find very fascinating is that, when you did Ram Leela, there was that sense of you being a very generous and compassionate soul.
Yeah.
There was that sense of benevolence. And I think even here, there's that sense of benevolence, but there's also that sheer sense of a lot of pain, which I think you go through in the series. So talk to me about channeling those emotions, because when you worked with Sanjay Leela Bhansali back then, I mean, you was a different person. I'm sure even Sanjay sir's mindset must have been very different as well, and it's obviously, changed over time. So how would you describe that process from then to now, and especially the characteristics as well?
I think that I was a different person for sure. Ramlila was maybe my third film or fourth film. That's it. And I was still really relatively new in the industry. It was headlined by two major stars. And I was getting to work with Sanjay Leela Bhansali itself. That was a very overwhelming experience for me. And I mean, what is an artist that doesn't evolve every 6 months, you know? Uh, I think Sanjay sir has also evolved a ton. I find him to be maybe more, maybe he explains the scenes more, has more fun, is kind of in more flow with the actors, and I just love collaborating with him. I think he's
Hmm.
really, in a sense, from the same planet. I feel like he has an old soul energy. He
Hmm.
almost, I like, you look at him and you're wondering if this guy was like, he's actually from like the Guru Dutt and the K. Asif era, and he's,
Yeah.
existing in 2024, and he's making all this beautiful cinema. But actually, yeah, I mean, I just loved each and every part of uh, playing Lajjo. I enjoyed Lajjo much more than I enjoyed Ramlila actually. Uh,
Hmm.
Even though Lajjo is very self-destructive, but I prefer this to the violence of Ramlila and to
Yeah.
everything. I think it's just been the most fun, rewarding, different experience for me.
Sure. Now, Aditi, I think when it comes to, when you did Mehrunisa, actually, obviously, again, there was that sense of that whole maternal, I guess, kind of instinct in a way coming, the very compassionate sort of feeling, but then there's also a very baghavat jo kehte hain, ek streak hai aap mein, in your character of Bibbo Jan as well, in Heera Mandi. The nuances of these characters, the dialect, the way you present yourself. I mean, there's so much grace that's there. What aspects of you did you have to tap into to really bring that alive on screen? And Sharmin, I've also got a question to you, which I'll come to after Aditi, your response.
Um, I just like Bipojan a lot. I admire her a lot. And also I would listen to a lot of what Sanjay sir would say about that time, about the freedom movement. I mean, there is also stories from my own family, my own grandfather. I mean, it's also, associated memories, and majorly listening to Sanjay sir speak, because he would almost make a rousing kind of I wouldn't say speech, but a kind of a narrative for uh, for for these people who, like somebody like a Bibbo, um, to completely believe and to keep that simmering fire alive in her, given her context, and to say that despite whatever it is that destiny has in store for her, she is going to go for it. And that Sanjay sir would always say, like, these were the real heroes, who saw
Mm,
independence, and quite often they weren't even spoken of. and there are some real the real life tawaifs there are stories about them and the freedom movement, etc., etc. So actually it was huge and very honorable shoes to fill, and it was very, very inspiring. But a lot of it also came from just listening to Sanjay sir, and completely, like, my heart would race. It was difficult for me because there is one part of her character and her personality which kind of is something that I'm familiar with, or I feel very comfortable with. It was the very, very the fiery aspect of it I possibly have a certain understanding of, but Sanjay sir pushed me into a completely other zone, also because it's so much of a higher purpose. There is nothing of the self in there. It is completely for for a larger cause. It's for the country, and that I think required a different kind of mind space, which a person like Sanjay sir makes it so immersive, and he pushes you into that space, and his belief of what you can do with character and with an actor is so much bigger than what you even imagined. So it was very, very fulfilling to have her as a part of my life, honestly, that he gave her to me.
Absolutely. And I think it's interesting. We've had courtesans like Aziz and Ba in real life who have
Yes,
really
exactly.
sacrificed their lives,
Yeah.
for the country. But Sharmin, as a final question to you, actually, I loved Malal. I think it was such a beautiful film. Until date, I still revisit the songs and I've watched the film so many times. I think when it comes to the brand of Bhansali's tragic stories and the love sagas that he's done, and the sort of mukammal love stories, as he always likes to call them, from when you began then, because that was obviously your debut, to now, how have you understood the intricacies of portraying tragic stories and playing characters which are quite broken in an essence as well?
So I think one of the things that I look at when I'm playing any character is trying to understand why the character is doing what they're doing and why they're behaving the way they're behaving. The way Sanjay sir does it, he kind of somewhere brings a certain organicness to it, to each character, but it's calculated or organicness. So I think somewhere within that calculated organicness, you can find layers. And acting is such a medium where you can say so much without doing acting for film and TV is so you can do so much, you can say so much without doing too much. So that's kind of what I have correlated, but tried to execute in Malal. But I think I was really raw at that time as an actor, so my physicality didn't sit well, but the thoughts and the understanding of the characters were within my brain. I think today, where I've reached today with this is, I think I've matured as an actor to be able to do less on screen, but still maybe leave a little bit more of an impact through like my voice and my eyes. And I think tragedy is such a sometimes how we face it as a human is just different to each person, right? Everyone has their individual coping mechanisms, their different reactions. I think so. I was sitting with my husband today in the car, and there's a scene that we saw in episode 2, and he looked at me and he was like, "You were laughing in this. I think you by mistake laughed in the sad scene." I was like, Aman, I cannot. I had to explain to him. I was like, sometimes when you're sad, you end up wanting to laugh, or
Yeah.
sometimes when you're angry, you end up wanting to laugh, or sometimes when you're frustrated, you just want to sit and vegetate, but you're still frustrated. So I think that's kind of where I am today, where I think that can reach an audience. I think in Malal, although I love the film, I think the reach kind of fell short to an audience. The layers didn't come across as beautifully as they have in Heera Mandi. And I
Sure.
really enjoy playing tragic characters because their motivations to do what they are doing are so much more complex. Like sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it's so much fun because you're explaining to yourself why a certain, and this is why I started acting, to feel different kinds of emotions that me as Sharmin, this privileged kid that like has grown up and gone to some like international school in Bombay, then never ever think of feeling those emotions. My morning starts with checking my phone every morning. My evening ends with Netflix. Like, where do I get the time to immerse myself into someone else's shoes, or where I have the time, because phones and Netflix are not important, but they're a part of who I am.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
essentially, that's why I started acting, and that's why these tragic characters are so great, because I don't want to be living this tragedy in my daily life, but I really want to experience these emotions at some point in my life. So it's great to have the ability to get into it and then get out of it.
Oh, sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for your honesty, Sharmin. That was beautiful. Well, look,
Thank you.
unfortunately, we have run out of time because I do have a lot more questions, but hopefully I'll try and catch up with you guys after the series streams for sure. But look, wishing you all the very best, Richa, Aditi, and
Thank
Sharmin.
you,
For
Anuj.
Heera
Thank
Mandi.
you.
It's always such a pleasure to sort of see you guys. And Sharmin, it was lovely to meet you. And
Thank
all the
you.
best. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.